Hey friends, welcome back. Today I'm continuing my series with the e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palettes, and this is one of the newer ones that e.l.f. came out with this year. Today we are focusing on Cold Brew. I think it is a great everyday matte eyeshadow palette. So on top there, that one is I Love You a Latte, and here on the bottom that is Cold Brew. So you can see the differences there between the two palettes. They're both all matte. If you would like to see how to do this makeup look, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the tutorial. After I prime my eyelids, I'm just gonna let that sit for about a minute before I go in with the eyeshadow. Just because if you go in right after you apply it, your eyeshadow can stick to it and not apply evenly. I'm gonna first go in with this shade here, and I'm just using the Morphe M332 brush, focusing it first in the outer V and then taking what is left on the brush and blending it in towards the inner corner. And then I'm gonna go in the eyeshadow again, and then this time I'm gonna blend that shade all over the eyelid, also focusing the majority of the color out here in the outer V, or the last kind of half of the eyelid, and then just pulling the rest of the shadow in towards the inner corner. And this shade builds really nicely. It blends out really well. I really enjoy this palette. It's a great everyday matte eyeshadow palette. I love pairing this with the Maybelline Single Shadow in Nude Glow. It looks beautiful with that one, or like Wet n Wild Nutty. So I just think that this is a great companion eyeshadow palette. Then I got some more of that same shade on the Sigma Pencil E30, and I'm gonna run that color here on the lower lash line just to smoke this out. And then I'm just gonna progressively like go up in the shades just to deepen up the outer V. So next I'm gonna go in with this color, and I'm using that same Morphe M332. And I'm doing the same technique that I did with that first shade, except for I'm not gonna take this color on the eyelid. I'm just focusing it here in the outer V first, and then blending it in towards like the corner. I'm not taking it all the way down here, but you know what I'm saying? Like just blend it in towards this way. And then I'm getting some more of that middle brown shade on that Sigma Pencil E30, and I'm also going to smoke this out here on the lower lash line. I'm not taking it quite as far down. It's like with each darker brown shade, I get a little more focused in the outer V, and I don't blend it out as far. And then I'm going in with the deepest brown in this palette, just using that same Morphe M332. And just stamping it here. This time I'm just using very small circular motions. I really want to just kind of keep the shade mostly here in the outer V. I don't want to blend it out too far. This is just going to create like a nice gradient effect. Okay, and then that darkest brown, getting some of that on the Sigma Pencil E30. And here I'm just going to keep that shade about here up. So I don't want to take that too far in that way. Just keeping it mostly focused here in the outer part of the lower lash line. Then I'm going to go in with the cream shade in this palette, the matte cream. And I'm taking this small angled brush. I got this from an e.l.f. brush set. I'll have all the brushes and all the products that I'm using today listed down in the description box. But I'm just going to use this as my brow bone highlights. And I'm also going to put a little bit of this here in the inner corner. I'm going to go back with that original shade that we used in the crease. I'm going to lightly go around the edges just to blend everything, to blend the highlight shade and those darker outer V colors. just so it looks a bit more seamless. And I'm also going to take just a little bit of that here on the lower lash line to also blend things and smoke things out a little bit more. Next, I'm going to take a liquid liner, and this is the Physicians Formula Eye Booster Pen in Deep Brown. And I'm just going to do a light wing and liner, nothing like too thick. I'm just going to kind of pull the corner of my eye up here like this, and then just pull it over like that. I said I was going to do a small wing, and now I feel like it's getting a lot bigger than I wanted it to be. Okay, I think that works. And I'm going to go back with like some eyeshadow and smoke out the liner. Then I'm going to let the liquid liner dry down just a little bit. And I know it probably doesn't look perfect, but like I said, it doesn't have to be, because I'm gonna go over top of this with an eyeshadow. So if you're not super skilled with doing liquid liner, this is a great trick. I've showed this many times here on my channel. But I'm gonna take this angled brush. I got this out of an Amazon brush set. It used to have like a spoolie on the end, but it broke off. But I love this angled brush. It's like a little bit thicker. It's great for smoking out like shadow at the lash line. So I'm going to take the darkest brown in this palette. Then I'm just getting some of that shade here on this brush. And then I'm going to just take that on top of the liquid liner. And I'm just going to smoke this out. And it's okay if this is not perfect. I might actually go back with just a little bit of this, or just blend it out a little bit with this brush, just because I kind of applied too much there. But this is just going to soften the liner up a little bit and hide any of those mistakes. See, I just feel like that looks so much softer and just better than this eye over here, where it looks a little bit more harsh. So I did do my foundation and brows off camera. So I will have the products that I used listed and linked down in the description box, so you can check that out to see what I used if you're curious. This is one of the LA Colors Just Blushing blushes in the color Just Bare, and my lid has broken off of this. That's like really my only complaint about these blushes, is like the lids just don't hold up super well, but I love the product inside. It is so good. And this is a nice like matte, kind of a brownish toned, like natural colored blush. But I love this one in Just Bare. I love Just Natural, and they also have another shade in Just Playful. And those are probably my top 3 favorite ones from this Just Blushing blush line from LA Girl. So I'm just taking the blush up here, sort of from my temples, and bringing it down to about like right like where my iris is, like if I'm looking straight ahead. Trying not to apply the blush too far in. For my bronzer, I'm going to be using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Deep Bronzer. And I've been enjoying this application process better, where I apply my blush first and then go in with my bronzer. I just find that this way it doesn't muddy up my blush too much, and also helps me to not apply too much bronzer, like to over apply it. It just helps me with my bronzer application, I feel like, if I do my blush first. How do you do it? Do you apply your bronzer first and then your blush, or do you apply the way I do, like where I do my blush first and then bronzer? Let us know in the comments, because I'm just curious. I just feel like the way I was always taught to do bronzer was to do that before your blush, but I honestly think it just looks so much better to do it the other way around. I'm gonna add just a little bit more blush right here to like the apples on my cheeks and blend it back. But as you can see with like this blush color, it is very natural. I really like this color. It's super pretty. And I think I'm gonna actually skip a highlight today. I think I'm just gonna stick with like an all matte kind of look. I know that the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer does have like a slight sheen in it, but it's not super shimmery or anything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and mist my face with my makeup setting spray. And then I'm gonna come back and we'll figure out what lip color I'm gonna use and do my mascara. So I'm just using the Urban Decay All Nighter. On my upper lashes, I use the Maybelline Sky High mascara, and on the lower, I use the e.l.f. Lash Extender. So I just noticed after I did my setting spray that my T-zone looks a little shiny. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of the setting powder that I used today. This is just the MCO Beauty Miracle Flawless Setting Powder, and I'm just gonna lightly press that into my T-zone. But for the lips, today I'm gonna go ahead and line them first with the Revlon Color Stay Long Wearing Lip Liner in the shade Sienna. Then I just kind of like press my lips together to sort of blend the lip liner out a little bit. And then for the lipstick, I'm gonna use this CoverGirl Clean Fresh Lip Balm in Bliss You Berry. And this shade in Bliss You Berry is like a really great dupe to the Clinique Black Honey Almost lipstick. This is Clinique Black Honey over here, and this is the CoverGirl. So, I mean, the CoverGirl one might be slightly a little bit more warm toned, but they are very, very similar. So if you've been looking for a dupe for Clinique Black Honey, I think this is a great alternative. I hope that you guys enjoyed my in-depth tutorial on this e.l.f. bite-sized palette in Cold Brew. I love this one. All of the new ones that e.l.f. came out with have been great. Like, I love all of the new ones. I mean, I love all the ones in the bite-sized eyeshadow line. I think they are all great. They're all winners. So if you have yet to see my other tutorials that I've done with all the other e.l.f. bite-sized palettes, I'll have that playlist linked right over here so you can check that out. But if you enjoyed this today, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what are some other videos you would like to see from me, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.